Don't forget to enter for your chance to win 35,000 VC. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel and comment down below to enter. What's going on, guys? Gabe the Great back here again with another video, and today we are doing a rebuild. Today we're going to do a rebuild of the Orlando Magic, so be sure to slap that like button if you want to see more rebuilds. I have a Minnesota Timberwolves that went really good, and I will be uploading that soon. But today we have the Orlando Magic. Now the Orlando Magic, here's what I'm thinking, okay? What I'm thinking is I'm going to try to build around Aaron Gordon. That's my original thought process. And then just try to make a big splash in free agency. I think that's what I'm going to go for. Just trying to make a big splash in free agency. If Eldrin Payton does good, we'll keep him. So Fournier's a good scorer. Vujicic. So we got some pieces here. We got some pieces, but none of these guys at this point in their career can you really build around. So, I mean, it's a team full of role players. So we got to bring in a star to build around, and we'll go for there. But let's jump into the first trade. It's going to be after our first game of the season. And I know I said I was going to try to build around Elfridge Payton, but I got an offer for Jeremy Lin that I just could not pass up. So we're going to do Elfridge Payton and Bismack Biyombo for Jeremy Lin and Sean Kilpatrick for obvious reasons. Jeremy Lin is just a better point guard. I know Payton is younger, has a better upside, but this is a 3-year rebuild. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Jeremy Lin. The next trade is going to be a few days after that. And now we are going to trade Jonathan Simmons, a second-round draft pick, and Kim Birch for Trevor Booker and Tyler Zeller. This was just a better trade. Or better players. I mean, you bring in Zeller and Booker, and so we're gonna go ahead and do that one. And they're both on 1-year deals. I don't want to trade too many people who have multiple years left on their contract, so I can make a big splash in free agency. The next trade is gonna come about 5 days after that. We are 1-4, not looking good. But now we're going to trade DJ Augustine and Mario Hezonja. He was supposed to be somebody great, but that didn't turn out. But we're going to go ahead and pick up Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and a first-round draft pick. So normally I might have said no to MKG because honestly he hasn't lived up to the hype. But they include a first-round draft pick, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. That makes this deal very much worth it. DJ Augustine and Mario Hezonja for Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and a first-round draft pick. The next trade is going to come the very next day, and now we're going to trade Terrence Ross, two second-round draft picks for Tony Allen and Solomon Hill. Terrence Ross is a good player. But Tony Allen, in my opinion, I like him better because he does what he's supposed to, which is play defense. Okay, so he's a great perimeter defender. Every team needs a good perimeter defender, at least one. You really need a few, but we're gonna go ahead and bring him in and Solomon Hill for Terrence Ross. The next trade is gonna come a couple days after that. We are 1-6, not looking good at all. And now I'm going to trade Jonathan Isaac for Tyreke Evans and a first-round draft pick. So, I mean, I know Jonathan Isaac is a young guy who could develop, but at this point in the season, I know it's still early in the season, he was starting and he just wasn't, fulfilling his role. On top of that, I get Tyreke Evans, who is a proven scorer, and I get a first-round draft pick in next year's draft. So, that's going to be good for us. The next trade is going to come a little bit later in the week. We're now 2-7, and now we're going to trade Shelvin Mack, a first-round draft pick in 2019, a second-round draft pick, and Aaron Aflalo for Marcus Morris, a first-round draft pick, and Aaron Bynes. I'm a big fan of the Morris twins, and this is just it's another good upgrade. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do this, and we get another first round draft pick to either use to draft or as an asset. The next trade is gonna come a few days after that. We're now 2-9, and now we are just getting rid of some smaller pieces right now. Jamil Artis and Wesley Awadunu, and for Darian Hiller and Matt Costella. Nothing major here. This isn't a major trade, but you know, some good two-way players that I can use back and forth between the G League. The next trade is going to come about a week later. We are 4-11, and now we are going to trade Adrian Payne, Maurice Spates for Willie Herron Gomez and Luke Cornett. Not Luke Kennard, but Luke Cornett, whoever he is. And so Willie Herron Gomez was having a really good season for the Knicks, and so I wanted to go ahead and finesse them because the Knicks seems to be easy to finesse these days. So I want to go ahead and get the New York Knicks. So we're going to send some old guys over there to him, some veteran guys, for a younger Willie Herron Gomez. And then my last trade of this season is going to come in February 3rd. And we are 23-28. And now I'm going to trade Greg Monroe, Malcolm Brogdon for Aaron Gordon and Solomon Hill. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why are you trading Aaron Gordon? Well, at this point in the season, it doesn't really look like we're going to make the playoffs. Aaron Gordon is progressing. As you see, he's a 79 overall, so he has progressed. But his stats just are not where I want them to be. Also, I feel that Malcolm Brogdon could be a great piece for us. Greg Monroe, we'll use him this year. Maybe let him go in free agency. Again, that's going to open up tons of cap space for us. So we're going to go ahead and do this trade. Even though I want to try to build around Aaron Gordon, for what they were asking for him, I just felt was a good deal. And as we get to the end of the season here, as you guys see, we end up going 500. LeBron James gets your final MVP. Lonzo Ball is the Rookie of the Year. Hassan Whiteside, Dennis Schroeder, Steve Kerr also winning awards. And we're not going to have anybody on any of these teams, so that's why it's called a rebuild. But we do manage to get into the playoffs. But just let's see some stats. Jeremy Lin was our leading scorer, followed by Fournier and Vujacic. Greg Marone did good as well. So it's looking like Lin, Fournier, and Vujacic were our best players, but honestly, nobody really stood out. So going into the offseason, we're definitely going to try to get some big name free agents. And here how's the cap space is looking. We got $50 million that we could potentially work with in the offseason. So we're pretty ecstatic about that. A lot of expiring contracts. So we can potentially sign 2 big name free agents. But here in the playoffs, we are the number 7 seed, and we are going to lose 4 games to 1 to the Philadelphia 76ers. That 5th game was a close one. We only lost by 5, but we are going to get eliminated in the first round. So to make the playoffs, I didn't really even expect to make that. And we eventually lose to the eventual champions. So to lose to the champions, I always feel better than losing to someone who didn't win the championship. So Joel Embiid is your finals MVP. But let's go ahead and get into this offseason. And here in the offseason, we are at the draft lottery. As you see, we potentially have the number 7 pick. And it looks like the Hawks could get number 1, Cleveland number 2. But once the lottery hits, we actually get the 2nd and the 16th overall pick. So this is looking really good for us. As you know, this is a very deep draft. This loaded roster, this loaded draft class is a very deep one. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. Now we are going to go ahead and get rid of our coach. And we're going to go ahead and sign this Booth guy. Or actually, we end up signing Logan Schmidt. I signed Booth for a second, but then Schmidt, who has the better ratings, we end up signing him. But going into the draft, we pick at number 2. And Michael Porter Jr. and Marvin Bagley III, MB3 is still available. But we're going to go ahead and go with Michael Porter Jr. to go ahead and build in a piece that we could build around for not just this year, but for the future. But we are going to make a trade here in the draft. And this trade is going to be for Evan Fournier and the first round draft pick of 2018 for the number 8 pick and Marvin Williams. So I was actually kind of shocked by this deal. I didn't think they would do it. I was actually looking just to kind of see what I could get for my 16th overall pick, and also just trying to trade away some cap space. That's initially why I wanted to trade Evan Fournier. But when I saw that we could get the number 8 pick, I had to go ahead and do it. So we're going to go ahead and get the number 8 pick in this year's draft. Then we are going to make another trade. This is our second trade on draft day. This one's going to be for Vujacic, and we're going to trade the number 16 pick for the number 9 pick and John Lure. So here we go. We've cleared up about $5 million in cap space and have managed to get the 8th and 9th pick of this year in this year's draft. We already have Michael Porter Jr. So it looks like we are going to be young going forward. Now here we go with the 8th overall pick, and I'm just going to select the best player on the board. There's a lot of cool players. I see Trayvon Duval down there, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the best overall player, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up Kostic Mushidi. And now I'm going to go ahead and get the next best player overall, which is going to be Robert Williams. I've really never heard of this guy, but my scouts have him rated as a 76. So we're going to go ahead and pick him up with the 8th and 9th pick. So I'm feeling pretty good. We have the number 2, the number 8, and the number 9 pick so far in this year's draft. So things are looking good. But we are going to make one more trade here on draft night. And this trade is going to be for Robert Williams, who we just picked up. First round draft pick of 2019, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist for Trayvon Duval and Kelly Olynyk. Now, I know what it looks like. It looks like we're getting the short end of the stick here, but the reality of it was that I just really wanted Trayvon Duval, and I really had no space for this Robert Williams guy. I did get Michael Porter Jr., so he can play small forward or power forward. So we're going to go ahead and get Trayvon Duval because we do need a point guard. We do not have a point guard on this team. So we're going to go ahead and get Trayvon Duval. But there you can see the rest of the draft and how it went. And so I'm feeling pretty good. So we walk away with MPJ, Tricky Trey, and Mashidi. I don't really know who he is, but he's got a good rating. So we're going to go ahead and sign all of these guys. And I'm feeling pretty good about that. Now we're going to go into the player options. Jeremy Lin is going to decline his player option. Brogdon is going to accept. And we are going to go ahead and let Tyler Zeller walk. And so now going into free agency, we are trying to sign Kevin Durant, but we are literally going to have to renounce the rights to just about every single person on our team who was on a 1-year deal. So we are going to renounce the rights to Jeremy Lin, Sean Kilpatrick, Trevor Booker, Tyler Zeller, Tony Allen, Tyreek Evans, Aaron Bynes, Greg Monroe, Hillard, and one other person just to sign Kevin Durant. But we still have about 10 million left, so we are going to try to see who can we keep on this roster, because I don't want to lose every single person. So we are going to try to keep Tyreek Evans and Tony Allen. We're going to keep the cap hold on them. We're also going to keep the cap hold on Hillard. And we are going to try to see where that takes us going forward. Also, we are going to sign Tony Allen. And we're going to sign Sean Kilpatrick. And we're going to try to get Amir Johnson as well. So here's who we go into the season with: Kevin Durant, Malcolm Brogdon, Michael Porter Jr., Marcus Morris, Willie Herron Gomez, Kelly Olynyk, Tony Allen, Sean Kilpatrick, John Lure, Amir Johnson, Kyle O'Quinn, who won Sixth Man of the Year last year. So decent roster. So basically, I mean, we're building around Michael Porter Jr., Kevin Durant, Brogdon is good, Morris is good. So I'm feeling pretty decent about the roster. I feel like it's basically an upgrade from last year. So we'll see how we do. Now, something interesting did happen in the season. Malcolm Brogdon did go down with an injury. So half of the season, I did end up playing Michael Porter Jr. at the shooting guard position because Trayvon Duval did need some time to develop. He just wasn't making the cut in the lineup. By the end of the season, he does end up playing heavy minutes as the backup point guard, but I do end up having Michael Porter Jr. at the point guard position. We experimented with it for a little bit. During the season, we are not going to make a lot of trades. We're only going to make one trade this season, and that's going to come on January 1st. We're going to trade Kelly Olynyk and John Lear for Markieff Morris and Ian Mahoney. And so now we got both the Morris twins. And so I'm feeling really good about this. I'm liking the roster. I don't know if we're a championship contender at this point, but the roster is looking really good. And I was actually surprised as we're closing out the season here. As you guys can see, we have won many games. We've won over 50 games this season. And we are actually going to end up with the number 2 spot in the Eastern Conference. Michael Porter Jr. gets bamboozled from Rookie of the Year. I mean, what did Marvin Bagley III teams do? But let's not go there. But he does end up making the first all-rookie team, of course. I mean, he had good numbers, 14 and 8. MPJ had 14 and 6 and 2 and 1. So I don't know, you be the judge. I think it could have went either way, but I think because we finished number 2 in the conference, I think that should account for something. His team didn't even make the playoffs, but that's neither here nor there. As I said, we did finish tied with the Cleveland Cavaliers for the best record in the Eastern Conference, and we definitely wiped up our division. So now going into the playoffs, as you saw, Malcolm Brogdon Jr. is injured, so Michael Porter Jr. is playing the point guard position, and we are going to get past the Bucks in the first round, 4-1. And eventually, like I said, Trayvon Duval does come along, but we are going to keep MPJ at the point guard position. And in the second round, we got the Philadelphia 76ers, and we come back from down 3-2 to beat them in 7 games to send us to the conference finals with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And while we are playing Cleveland, Kevin Durant goes down with an injury, but we were already up 3-1 at that point. Then Trayvon Duval goes down with an injury, so we just got Michael Porter Jr., and he's able to get us past LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and now we're going to face the Denver Nuggets in the finals. And Michael Porter Jr. with Kevin Durant injured, Trayvon Duval, and everyone else. Malcolm Brogdon, he eventually did come back, but Michael Porter Jr. as a rookie leading the Orlando Magic to a championship and getting finals MVP. I don't know if that's ever happened. Can someone look that up for me? Has a rookie ever won finals MVP? It would be interesting to see. But that's going to do it all. Make sure to like this video and comment down below for your chance to enter to win 35,000 VC. 35,000 VC go to the most engaged subscriber on the channel for this week. And I'll see you guys next time.